my spirit because I was really true story. I was watching YouTube, right, and this is what happened. I was watching YouTube and they was talking about Gen Z and how dating for Gen Z is hard versus back in the day and how dating used to be, which I got inspired by this topic because I was like, let me put my little spin on it. And not only that, not just the YouTube video. The YouTube video just added on to it. So I've been thinking about this topic though. But here's the thing: when we're gonna speak outside of the dating aspect, let's speak in general. Dating aspect could go many ways, but when it comes to lack of communication, let's start with friendships. Number one, friendships. You're gonna tell why. Friendships are like relationships without the romantic being in it. So I feel like I see people over the internet all the time. I'm talking about these people look for friends all the time, which is a good thing. Nothing wrong with that. But I have noticed how lonely this generation really is. Because I remember back in the day when you used to go to school and you'd be like, oh man, that's my friend right there. And then that friend moves, or either that friend doesn't go to that school anymore. And then just like, wow, I lost a friend. And then it's like school in a way. You have a friend, you meet another friend, then you have another friend. Back in the day, that's how it was like. But now it's hard. Like people find their friends on the internet, or I might be wrong. I might be wrong. I don't know the statistics, but I just feel like I see people all the time. They be like, "Man, I'm looking for new friends. I need a new friend. This, that, that, that." And I'm just sitting there like, "Wow, is this generation that lonely?" Man, I ain't gonna lie. It's different back in the day. Back in the day, people went outside more. That's just me. Might be wrong, but I just felt like people went outside a lot more and made friends. It was easy to talk to. Nowadays, you got to be careful how you talk to people, who you talk to, because you never know. People, people be on some, I don't know. I don't know what the word would be. And people be on a different vibe, But I have done said though. What did you think? Do you feel like, what is your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
So, as you're talking, I'm feeling into it. I'm putting myself back in, like, because I had a friend that moved away from school and it gutted me. I was like, oh my God, that was my best friend. Like, she's gone. And I'm thinking now, like, how I make friends in the world now. And it hit me like, the places that we frequent, like the things that we do in our life, the what we fill our time with, like that will really be a big determining factor of the kind of friends that we attract into our life. Because, like, you're right, if we are spending the majority of our time online, where else are we going to find friends? But if, like, let's say like people who would go to a bookstore, you might can meet a friend in the bookstore. I mean, they might be introverted like you, it might be a little more difficult. Or you may, like, let's say you like to go hiking, you may happen upon someone hiking, and that's friends with like interests. But people do spend a lot of time online these days, and so I think that we're really, like, we're introduced to a more diverse type of people, I think. But then, like, what we're consuming is what they're consuming. So there's still like interests. It's just there's like a nuance to it. And they say, like, the people that you spend your time around, like, you become most like those people. And I don't know. I think I went, like, kind of off topic here, but I was just thinking, like, what if you do other things with your life, then you'll find people who do other things with their life. And so we are in a culture that's very, like, it is closed off. And then bringing that around to lack of communication, it's like, well, yeah, because we spend all of our time on devices. It makes sense. We don't know how to talk anymore.
Oh my gosh, she really proved the point. That that's my point exactly. That's my point exactly. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, she took words out my mouth. I
Oh
swear
my
to God, she
god,
took words out my mouth.
I'm
I
not trying to steal your thunder.
swear. She took the words out my mouth because what you just said was spot on. Like that was crazy. I was like, Oh, dang, I was going to say that one. But you're right. People do not know how to communicate anymore. It's sad. It is sad. I can tell you, I have talked to thousands and thousands and thousands of people with friends and stuff. And it's just like, wow. It's like they talk for that one night, night two, it becomes dry. Then it's just night three, you just like, okay, I'm always putting in the effort. Like I'm like, wait a minute, we was talking good this day. Then it goes the next day. Here's a little text. Then it goes down weeks later, month halfway gone. Then there's another text. Then if it doesn't go like that, yeah, I'll speak from experience though. But like, if it doesn't go like that, they would take a year to come text me back. I'm talking about almost 12 months. They'll go all 12 months without texting me and then come up in January and be like, oh, Happy New Year type bull crap. You know, and I'd be sitting there like, what in the world? What did I do? Or what did they do? Or how did they feel about being my friend? But it's just like,
Okay, yeah. I see what you're saying. I see what you're
it's
saying.
it's crazy though. It's crazy part. I laugh at it now because I feel like I'm healed from that because I'm used to people doing it so much. Like it doesn't phase me. Oh, here's an experience. I tell the experience what happened to me last night. You know, I was like, I guess I was trying to like be this person's friend or trying to get to know them. Good conversation. Good conversation. They were spot on, applying fast. So this, let me tell people that I'm telling people this. If you meet people online, then you get their socials. They become two different people, literally. Because like you meet them in a video game, or you just meet them wherever you meet them at, you know. And then once you meet them there, then you get to their social. It's just like it's totally different. So I'm gonna tell the story. I know people love story time. I'm gonna tell the story. Okay, it's a story. This is crazy how it happened. So I had met him in a video game, and I was trying to be their friend or whatever. So boom. So I go do. So we texted out. We texted. And I was like, "Do you use Discord or whatever?" And they said, "Yeah." So I had them on Discord. Boom. They had to be pretty fast than what I thought. I was like, dang. I was thinking like, this gonna take an hour and a half. And see, that's another thing. This how you know when people are really wanting to be a friend. Like if they take 12 hours or like 3 hours to add you, what is their attention? Like you think of like, they gonna be on some bull crap. Hopefully they ain't no scammer. Yeah. Because I've been in situations like that where people take 3 hours or 2 hours or something like that. Then it's just PTSD. I had experiences where people end up being scammers or something. But anyway, that's besides the point. But a little off topic. Let me get back on topic. Anyway, the thing is, we had a conversation, full blown conversation. And I asked them about some things. And then they end up blocking the crap out of me. After I just said one simple thing, like it was only a 10-minute conversation. 10 minutes. That's what I'm saying. Like when people give you a conversation, they gotta be able to balance that back, reciprocate that back. The person was good at reciprocation, but then they couldn't handle the conversation anymore. I guess they felt like I was too boring or something. But that ain't a me problem. That's a them problem because at the end of the day, I'm talking and then you're gonna unadd me on Discord and then block me on the video game as well. Then I sat down like, people do not know how to communicate out here anymore. 10-minute conversations. That's all you get nowadays. 10-minute conversation. Depending on the person. Depending on the person. I ain't gonna say that for everybody, but depending on the person. It's like if you're giving a good conversation, you're pouring into the conversation. Like you said, people don't know how to communicate anymore. It is sad. It's sad. It is so sad that I told them that I wrote my own books, and then after that they just boop unadd. I was like, what? I was like, what is this? Like, it's a disconnect in friendships. There's a disconnect with, you know, communication in this generation. Like, for me, it is. Cause it's like I can have a full blown conversation and not be a dry texter, and they always come back and give you that 50%, or they give you that 10% of conversation, and you're looking for 90%. You're looking for 70%. They're giving you 10 when you're giving 90. So I sat there and I was like, this is crazy. I said, this person literally just gonna unadd me because I told him I wrote my own books. I said, this is wild. I said, this is wild, girl. Like, and I asked people, I ain't gonna lie, I might give y'all a little surprise though. I might tell y'all a little bit of Q&A question about this situation that I had. And I asked people, and I said, I had a Q&A, I had to get closure to it because I was like, let me see what other people think. So I asked these people, I put a post up there and I asked them, I said, do y'all just block people off of boring conversation? And y'all will hear the answers, trust me. Y'all will hear the answers. I gotta go find it. But what do you think about how communication is now? That's
Okay.
deep.
Now, I have so many thoughts right now. Let's
Oh
see.
Lord.
Okay. Sometimes I'm like, okay, slow down. Put one out at a time. Okay. So when you were talking before about like the person doesn't come back for like 12 months and then they leave you hanging and then they come back and you're just confused. I had this thought pop into my mind of like, we don't ever really know what that person is even thinking about. Like, so like maybe we're putting a lot more thought into it and a lot more value placed on that friendship because that's important to us, or like we're really leaning on that, and maybe that person isn't. Like maybe it really isn't that big a deal to them to have that kind of friendship right then, and they're just out living their life, not even giving it a second thought. And maybe we're over here like agonizing over it and like, bro, like that was so stressful. Like I didn't know what I did wrong, and I didn't know. And it just feels exhausting to think about like having friendships like that. Like some people are just out here living their life, and I used to do this thing where I would get so upset that people couldn't like read my mind and know what I wanted. Like I guess I
Oh wow.
expected everyone to communicate the way that I communicated. And I finally had to put two and two together and be like, you're the problem. Like talking to myself, like, you're so upset that people aren't communicating the way that you want them to communicate, but you haven't communicated that to them. Like, you haven't communicated what you want to them, but you're expecting them to like know that and do it. I don't know. That's just me though. Like, I guess I wasn't taking time to be like, well, what is their life like outside of this friendship? Like, maybe friendship isn't as important to them as it is to me. And maybe I'm just like, putting expectations on these people and I don't even know what they've got going on. So yeah, I see where you're coming from because when we were younger and we were in school, we had like these ready-made friends. I mean, like you're around the same people every day. You don't really have options, like you see the same people and you kind of have to get along or you're going to be miserable for 12 years. And now it's like there's options, but then outside of those options of friends, there's also other options of things you can do with your time. And I think when we weren't raised to value that as strongly as other people, like my daughter loves her friends, like that's her life. And my son could care less. Like he's like, okay, man, like I'm out here playing, I'm doing whatever. Like, hey, nice to meet you. Bye. But my daughter is like, what am I gonna do with my friends? I gotta go hang out with my friends. What are my friends gonna think? Like, I guess for me, like I was in my own head so much that now that I'm out in the adult world, I'm having to learn like people have other options besides me. Yeah. But like besides friendship too. Like, I don't know. There's so many layers. So that's why I said, like, I've got so many thoughts right now. Like, I need to just like pull one out and go with it.
That was well said. I'm not gonna lie, that was well said. That is so well said. Especially like when you were saying the part that like you used to be upset with yourself that people couldn't read your mind, and how you was talking about you couldn't communicate that, you didn't communicate that to. Oh my God, that was so deep. That was so deep because it be like that. Because I feel like people are like that now. It's like people would get upset about not. Oh, that was so good. Oh man, hold on. I got too many thoughts on my own stuff. I'm trying to bring it back down
Right?
to earth.
Like,
I'm trying to
okay.
bring it down. Trying to bring this down to earth. 'Cause this is pretty bad right here. Because it's like, what is so crazy about it is that people get mad, like you said, like yeah, I used to be like people get mad if the conversation don't go their way, and they're like, oh, they expect you to know what they're talking about all the time, and you'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about if you're not communicating. I feel like communication has went down a bit because I've talked to people and I'll be like, oh, what's wrong? And they'd be like, oh, that ain't wrong. I'd be like, well, what's wrong though? They'd be like, oh no, I'm good. And I'd be like, well, what you mean you good? Like, explain that. I had a friend in high school. High school, whatever. She didn't communicate. I think that's what broke our friendship up. Cause she didn't really communicate. Cause I asked, like, I was a genuine friend asking her, like, what's going on? How do you feel today? How do you feel for real? And one day she told me one day, but she would always be like, I was like, what you going to do today? She was like, work. I was like, what? Like, what type of work? Like, like you're not communicating that. It's just like, oh, wait, oh, I'm busy today. Oh, I'm like, but she was a Virgo, so it's understandable. Virgos don't want their peace messed up. I understand that, but it's like at the same time, how am I giving 80 to 90% of a conversation when they just so private? I feel like people have turned private in friendships, relationships, just the whole thing in general. People have turned private now. You ain't even gonna know what they talking about. See, I had one friend that I didn't go to high school with, and they lived in another state. One of my online friends, and we've been friends for 5 years, still being friends to this day, almost 6 years of friendship. And I truly love it, because she communicated a lot with me. We communicate, we talk to each other on many occasions. I had my dark days. She had her dark days, and we was there for each other. I really appreciate her still being my friend because, like, at the end of the day, a brother out here lonely as crap. We ain't got no that type of friend that makes you feel wanted. A friend that puts themselves in your shoe at that time. In moment when you need them the most. That's a real friendship. But people in general don't lost that. Like people just they'll sit and look at you and be like, oh, okay. Like you can have a full conversation and they'd be like, oh, okay. They be trying to hurry and rush the conversation and to get it over with. And I'd be sitting there like, what the world? Have you ever just had somebody to just be like, oh, okay, like you tell them a whole story. I ain't gonna lie, I'm guilty of this sometimes because it's like my brain doesn't. My brain kind of works different from other people because I can read something so fast and then like, oh, okay, I get it. Then next thing you know, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Then it's like a whole mess. But I'm guilty of that crap. But but the thing is, people try to get the conversation over as fast as they can because they don't see. That's how you know nobody don't want to talk to you. They're like, oh, okay. You can tell them about your like you tell them about anything in the world, and they still hit you with the, oh, okay, oh, that's nice, oh, that's interesting, oh, yeah, and you'd be like, huh? I just told you a whole communication, and and some people will just say that to get it over with. Then they will try to tell their half of the story. But they wouldn't even tell half of their story because you told your story. And then they don't reciprocate that. Then they move on to the next subject. You could be talking about a whole big conversation, important conversation, but they move on to the next subject like nothing happened. And you'd be like, wow, that's a point in time where hold on, I'm talking too much, I'm rambling a lot. But the thing is, it happens, you know. It happens. Have you ever been in that situation where you talked a lot to the person and then they just cut you off and move to the next subject? It's
Mm,
deep.
I don't know about moving to the next subject. I have in the past. So I used to be an oversharer really bad. Um,
Oh Lord.
I went like in the direction of like extreme vulnerability, like over vulnerability, because I had this thing where I just wanted people to accept me. And I figured like if I went ahead and put all my flaws out there, then like they knew everything bad about me, then if they chose to hate me, then I would know up front and I wouldn't have to go through the pain of being rejected later. But you were talking about like, people putting themselves in your shoes for a minute. And so I had to learn to like put myself in other people's shoes and like feel how that felt to them. Like sometimes it did cause people to feel awkward because maybe they didn't have that kind of openness growing up. And you got to think too, like, listen to me, you got to think too. No, like another thing is like because people are online and because people have like everyone's lives at the touch of a button, like we have YouTube, we have influencers, we see behind the scenes of people's lives, like we see ridiculous details of people's lives that 20 years ago, like I'm pretty sure the generation a couple generations before us would be like, why are you watching these things about these people's lives? Like leave those people alone. And so like it's kind of become obsolete. Like you share details of your life with someone and it's become like a less vulnerable thing to do because they're like, okay, yeah, and like moving on, there's bigger news. And so I think that this culture of like having access to everyone's lives and people do have the public persona and then they have the online persona and so they have like a different version of themselves that they let people see. And I think people become so wrapped up in that and so worried about what people think and worried about how people see them and worried about how it's going to come across. I wonder if like people just maybe have to like relearn how to be vulnerable and how to be in that kind of friendship with someone because we have cancel culture, like there's been so many times that like I've shared with friends and then we ended up not being friends later and I did find myself questioning like what did I do wrong, like did I maybe I shouldn't have been as vulnerable with them because then when they saw a flaw in me they were gone. And it does cause you to like second guess that like maybe I shouldn't be so open, maybe I shouldn't be open hearted, maybe I shouldn't share those parts of myself. So I guess I can kind of like put myself in their shoes and see where they might be coming from, but again it's still my perspective of what I think they're going through. I guess the best way is to just ask.
Wow. Well said. She proved another point that I was gonna get into. Damn.
Oh god.
I was gonna get into the social media aspect of that. It's just like
I
you
felt it
said.
coming, I felt it.
It's like dang, she read my mind, literally. The thing is, it's like that's so true because we see what's online a lot, and we think that we should be what you see online. Like it was like, okay, they got the fancy cars, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get with the fancy car. I'm trying to get over here and over there, and they look at the luxury lifestyle and they try to compare themselves to that. It's just like, okay, why are we comparing ourselves to a still image, an Instagram post that's probably not even real. They probably rented some of that stuff, you know, making it look good. But some people do work hard. You know what I'm saying? I give that. Some people do have work hard for their stuff, and they're posting it. It's like, okay, I work hard for this, and like you said, with that online persona, that's the thing. Like people be stuck in the online persona, but they never show you the real. Once you call them on the phone, then they just got a different persona. It's just like, oh, you was acting like this a while ago. You was doing good over here. I know we all have our days, but I'm like not speaking from a mental health aspect. I'm speaking from like a social experiment, like a social experience of how social media programs people to act different versus when you get them alone and talk to them. I'm telling you, it's something else. It's just like wow. it's like we see that, we try to be that, then we question ourselves like, is it that easy to be a barber, or is it that easy to be a nail tech or whatever they see online? Is it that easy to be that? Yes, you can get inspired by what you see off social media, but don't get to the point where it feels like, oh, I gotta compare my life to them. Like you said, and the older generation probably looking at us like, why you so like hypnotized by this
Yeah.
person? Like, oh, like you,
Yes.
oh my god, I don't want to say it, I don't want to say it, but okay, I'm gonna have to use it for example. I mean, Lord knows my heart. I'm gonna have to use an example of somebody that I do know, and we used to talk about pop culture and stuff, and I'm like, well, okay, this is cool. That was their favorite topic. I did not dim their light or anything like that. I respected it that they love pop culture. I respect them as a person, but it's just like with me sometimes. It's like, why are we so fantasized by celebrities? Why are we so fantasized by the luxury lifestyle that they got? Why are we so fantasized of another human person that's just like us? And it becomes a cycle. Like people be having these fan bases and stuff. They be so obsessed with these celebrities. They do anything. Like, no, I don't know. Should I say that celebrity? If I do, they're gonna be looking at me like, oh wow, it's really like that. But see, the thing is, okay, let's use Taylor Swift for example. Okay, just for example. Now, I'll be, hey, now these fan bases, hey, don't come for me. I like this Taylor Swift now. I'm just, music wise. But here's the thing. Like, people will go and do anything for a celebrity. They'll spend their whole paycheck to buy the album. And I'll be like, why are you spending your whole paycheck on an album? And then
Yeah.
people feel like in these parasocial, oh my God, God really gave that to me right there. The parasocial relationships of people. Like, oh my God, that's another thing. And they be spending their whole check doing everything, and they feel like they know these people by what they see offline. I'm like, you can't sit there and tell me that you or this other person that you don't even know, they don't even know you, and not going to see you a day in their life, but I'd be like, God, Lee, celebrity worship is crazy. It's crazy. These people do anything. I've seen fan bases go crazy. I was like, oh my God. I said, this, I have been a part of one. I've been a part of one. Like Dangles. Well, I might. Well, no, I'm saying anyway. I'm too blank. I'm too blank, because I'm too real. I can't. I'm just authentic. I have been in one. I was in a Twitter community before, and and it was toxic. I'm not gonna lie. And I was like, how can we all be in this group or be part of this group when it feels a little bit toxic? Something ain't right about this, and I could feel that. I'm like, but I'm just there because I'm just there because because she was there, and I knew her, and I felt comfortable with her. So I was like, okay. I'm gonna see, the only way I talk is if she doing her show. That's the only way I'm gonna talk. I ain't about to get on their stage and do it because I felt like their energy was different from her energy. Her energy was like gold to me. Like to them, it's like, you say the wrong word, you might get cut. Like that's how I felt mentally, like not physically, mentally. I don't promote self harm. It's just mentally, I felt like that. Like I don't know, but it's like you say, other generations will still they probably look at us like we some dang doggone fools. They look at us like doggone fools, be like, why are you so caught up into this person? What are you getting out of this? You know, it's just like, dang, you made a good point. She gave us that's another topic, right? It's just like parasocial relationships. I could go all day with that because
Yeah,
I
but
feel crazy things.
you gotta think too, though, like all these things that people are idolizing. I mean, I'll say we because I've done it. I've done it too. I'm not gonna be like, oh, all these people are. No, it's me too. We have idolized things that these people have, or like the notoriety that these people have, or like the workout motivation that these people have, the cars they have, like whatever it is. Here's my thing: like, you don't take that with you when you go. So it's like regardless of what it is or what we're getting out of it, it's like we're placing value on these things that at the end of the day, at the end of your life, they really don't matter. They have no actual value. And you have people who, we do have all of this at the touch of a button. We are consumed with other people's lives, and it's like distracting us from the number one relationship that is most important, that we do take with us at the end. Like, how are you treating yourself? How are you valuing yourself? How are you obsessed with yourself and talking yourself up? And like, man, I'm such a good person. Like, I'm going to come out here and grow today. And it's like we get distracted from that relationship with ourselves because we're idolizing other people. And I think I'm sitting here like, while you're talking, things are making more sense, because it's like that's another puzzle piece to the lack of communication. Because like, if you really don't value yourself, most people probably don't even know their true self. Like, because we've been raised, like, my generation, we had like the tail end of not living a life on social media, which was beautiful. But, I did have social media growing up, and everyone around me did. So it is a culture born into social media where we see other people's lives, we see other people's details. I personally believe if it continues in that direction, it would get worse and worse and worse. But I also believe that people like us talking about it are going to help guide others to like, hey, there's another way. Um, but I think that just that obsession with like looking at other people's lives and what they have, like, we're not focused on how we truly feel. We're not focused, like, we're distracting ourselves from that feeling of like, I'm not good enough. There's something wrong with me. So I'm going to idolize these people and, covet what's over here and envy what they have. And like, it's difficult to communicate when you're in that place emotionally. Like, I would assume that would come with a lot of shame and not feeling like you're worth being listened to, or not feeling like you're worth someone's time. Like, there's so many layers to it. I like how this conversation has evolved into like several different directions, but they all revolve around the same feelings.
Ooh, that was tough. I ain't gonna lie, that was tough. She's so right about that because yeah, idolizing other people. We're not figuring out what's wrong with us. Like you said, we ignore that feeling. I'm guilty of that. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. There's a couple times that I have been in those moments where I'd be like, okay, let me get something to distract me so I can't,
Mm-hmm.
feel this emotion because I want
Yep.
to feel it, And I'm bad about it. Still working on it. I'm bad about it because I feel it still. I was like, ugh. Like, dang, let's find something to numb the pain or something. Like some icy hot or something, Like, because it's like you don't want to feel it, but then it creeps back up on you a couple days later, and then
That's
you
the
have to deal
cycle.
with it.
Yes, that's the cycle. And it, like, it doesn't go away. Like that emotional icy hot, like, it doesn't fix the pain. It makes it feel better for a second. But I don't think that we're out here thinking 24/7, like, I'm going to distract myself from my pain today. Like, pull out your phone. Here we go. Like, it's not that. It's that, like, people, we really do run away from that vulnerability. We really do run away from that communication, because here's my thing. Like, if we truly communicate to other people, like, say your friend that loved pop culture, okay, if you really came out and you were like, dude, like, you're obsessing over things that literally don't even matter, like, that shit is so, it doesn't matter. Like, how would he respond? Like, would that still be someone who would want to hang out with you? Would he get upset? And I think that's why communication is such an important topic, and I'm glad you brought it up, because like, we've got to communicate in order to have boundaries, in order to decide what we will and will not tolerate in our life. That's, if you do that, that's fine, but I don't want that. And that really narrows your circle. Like, that really shows you the kind of people that want to be around you and have the same values as you. And like you said earlier, we're talking about like the older generations and how people can't communicate. It's harder to make friends. Like, it might be also because people are afraid that if we come out with our boundaries and our true feelings and we say, no, I don't like that, that's not for me. Well, guess what? Here's cancel culture. And it's like that threat of losing friends, that threat of not being accepted, not fitting in with the pack. And to a human, I'm sorry, we're mammals. Like, that's terrifying at a core level. Like, we don't want to be ostracized and not accepted. We want community. We want friendship. We want connection.
Ooh, that was so good. I ain't gonna lie. That was so good. Because you is telling the truth about that. Because, ooh, ostracized is a good word. I ain't gonna lie. Um, yeah, we kind of do, we kind of do act like mammals in a way. Like seriously, we act like animals in a way. Like you said, the fear of getting us, being cancel culture, man. Like that's what people think about. They'll be like, okay, if I say this, oh, I'm gonna get canceled if I say this. Like, oh man, here come the Twitter fingers, or here comes the Instagrammers, the Facebookers, the Snapchatters, the TikTokers, and you just like you get that type of mindset, and you just be like, oh man, what do people online are going to think about this take
Yes.
that I have?
Then
Like
you're
it
not
just
even being authentic at that point. Like you don't even know who you really are because you've curated your life according to what other people are going to think about it, you know? And I'm not saying social media is bad or technology is bad. It's just like we have a responsibility while we're on there to ourselves, to our relationship to ourselves and our self-love. And I don't know if we're taught that, honestly. I mean, I wasn't.
that's tough. That is tough because I feel like people live their life through social media so much. They live that social media life and they forget about real life. Like in real life, okay. This is a good point right here. We have been so in tune with online culture, online life, but we forget about the real thing. I mean, some people, not everybody, but then we forget about going in the real world and the problems that we do have to face every day. One person told me one time, her name was Parker, true good friend, good friend. She had said this so wise, very wise young lady that really hit me, and she said, when we turn off these phone screens, we still have to deal with the problem at the end of the day. And I had to fashion it my way a little bit, but she did say something like that. And I was like, dang, I took that word with me because she is right. When you turn off the screen, you turn off that social media, you still got to deal with that the situation that you got at home. And I see kids, you know, or like teenagers or whatever, and sometimes they can only express themselves online because sometimes people don't have parents to express that to. I mean that's a different stuff for another day though. But it
That's
gets deeper
good,
and
though. That's
deeper
true.
because they don't have. Well, as I said, I'm gonna say it anyway because it's like they don't have that type of connection with their parents, and I seen someone they came online and they was venting, and then they was talking about man, her and her mom didn't have a good connection with each other. And I was like, wow, I was like, I wonder why though. And she put out a whole story, and I was like, wow, it was so heartfelt, you know. And to me, from the outside looking in, it felt like she only could talk to people on the internet because she couldn't face, her mother or whatever, or face that feeling that she's facing. So I thought that was like, yeah, some people don't have parents to talk to, even though they're physically there, but they can't talk to them because you have parents that will be jealous and envious of their own child, which is weird. I'm like, why have a child just to envy, just to? I mean, there's parents. These type of parents do exist.
Yep.
We all don't have perfect parents, okay? But some of us are lucky than others, or some of us are not lucky than others. Some of us have to go through that trauma cycle. And sometimes you don't have parents to communicate with. And then some parents be like, oh, are you over there with your friends all the time? You tell Billy and them about everything, but you never come to tell me anything. Sometimes kids are not allowed to have that vulnerable space with their parents because that generation did it, that generation did it, this generation did it. I don't want to say generational curse, but dang. But it's just like people just boom, and then that's what I think about. It's like the reason why most of us is online, because one, don't have a lot of people to talk to. Two, parents might not be a parent that you can communicate to. You have you can have a whole lot of things of why you stay on the internet. People are like, why are you on the internet? Okay, I'm telling a story about one of my family members, one of my aunties one time. And what makes it bad, she's like, I think it is just like, I think she had asked me one time, uh, why I was on my phone or something like that. And it's just like at the end of the day, it's like I'm sitting in your crib. Like, what is there else to do? If you're not giving me an activity to do, or you're not expressing what you want us to go out and do and have fun, what is there else to do but sit on the microphone if you're not providing an activity? I'm that type of person. You provide an activity. Hell, I'll leave my phone in the car. You won't touch it for hours. I'm not one of them kids to be like, oh, when I was growing up, well, I shouldn't say kid. That's kind of wrong. Say it like that. I would say adult. Yeah, it's better conversation. You know, I'm one of those adults that put down my phone. I'll sit there. If you give me an activity to do, I'll go do it. Like, I put my phone in the car, forget all about it. You know what I'm saying? Activity done. Yeah, maybe go back to it a couple hours later. If it's a 9 hour activity, yeah, I'll be on my phone for 9 hours. That's a good thing for my mental health is to get off the phone. And I practice that every day because it's like I wish I practiced it a little bit more earlier. But when I was growing up, I didn't have no cell phone. So it's just like, okay, boom. So it's like I got used to the nature, used to the birds, used to I still love nature to this day, you know. And like you said, technology is not bad, but we have to put our mental health over the technology at some point. Put it down, lock it up, put it in a cage or something. Something. Phone, lock your phone up.
Yeah.
Put down the distraction and find what's wrong to and do the things that you love doing. Like if it's going out for a walk, go out for a walk every day. If you can, if you feel like it. Go
Yeah.
paint something. Go write a book.
Be
Meditate on something.
be present in the moment. And you were onto something a second ago too, because you said like these kids, maybe we don't have that close connection with our parents, and so we go online, and like you hit the nail on the head. Like we seek validation from others because we didn't get that when it was so important. And it just makes me wonder too, like when people are sitting and waiting for someone to respond to their text, or like, they didn't text me back for months, or I put all this effort into telling them a story or talking about like having a conversation, and then I get nothing back. It's like, to some degree, like that's still seeking validation from someone else. Like, and we don't know what they've been through. So maybe they seek it in a different way than we do. And it's just like a constant reminder of like, we have a responsibility to love ourselves and fill ourselves so that we're not putting that on other people to validate us or to meet our needs, or to just to have that connection with someone. Like we've got to have it with ourselves first. And like we were supposed to have it from our parents as kids. But once you're not a kid anymore, it's like, number one, you've got to grieve that you didn't have that. But then number two, now you've got to learn how to give that to yourself, because some people really do have to learn it. Like I had no idea what love was. So how am I supposed to love myself if I don't know how? Like I don't know what loving is. So it's a lot, and we put that on other people sometimes. I think like, I wanted my friends to be as in it as I was, and there were moments where that was valid, but there were also moments where I was like a little too in it. Like, okay, back up a little bit. Like that's a little codependent.
Dang. Dang, that makes sense though. That makes sense. And you're right about that. Ooh, codependent is another topic. Lord have mercy. God, that's another topic right there. But it's like, it be like that. Sometimes when you feel like you're all the way into a friendship, you just feel like, oh, I'm relying on this friend to help me with my problems, but I'm not helping myself with my own problems. Like, yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I think I might have been there before, where I would just, but we'll talk about. our problems together. Like they'll talk about their problem, I'm talking about my problem. We'll talk about it together. But that's kind of different. But no, I really can't say it. Say I've been there before. No, I can't say that. But it's like people rely on others. I had people come to me that rely on me to like they would be like, man, can you help me out with this man? That man, they just tell me their whole story. Don't even know me, and I feel like it has become normal to talk to strangers over people that you know. I feel like when you talk to people you know, they're always gonna not understand you. That stranger understands you more than your own family will. Shoot, even people that you know. You can talk to a complete stranger, they'll listen to every conversation that you have with them. But when it comes down to people you know, they always, oh, I'm busy, I gotta go. Oh, I'm, no, you know what? You have a nice day. Boom. But when you talk to a stranger, they'll be like, boom, man, I feel what you going through. And then you'll find that one stranger that be relatable to you, that just bow. You know, I feel like God sends angels in human form sometimes because it could be a person that just don't even know you, just talk to you just like that. You be like, Lord. If you ever watched the movie Angels in the Outfield, I love that movie. I love that
Yes,
movie
it's
death.
so good.
I
So
love that dog movie because it's like that's how God really works. Like you would sit there and be like, dog, this person knew something about me I didn't even know about myself. I was like, dang, I really do that. You're like, yeah, you really do this, and you're like, wow. That's why it's good to talk to others and express your communication, and not just
yeah,
sit there and be like, "Oh, I ain't gonna communicate today. Oh, I ain't gonna talk today." Oh, because I one-sided conversations and it sucks. That's another thing. People hit you with those one-sided conversations, and then it's just like, "Wow, what I'm doing wrong to for them to have a one-sided conversation." Now, here's the thing. It's okay if you're nervous and you don't know how to communicate. That's okay. But if you know how to communicate, but you're not willing to communicate or trying to communicate with a person, it's just like it's a dead connection to me. I mean, like dead because I've been there with people and I talked to people. I had talked to. Okay, this might get a little personal though. But I talked to a person and I was friends with them, and they was going through I don't know how can I say this. How can I say it to make it make sense though? It was going through a depressive episode, but and I was trying to be there, and okay, this is kind of dark. I don't want to get too dark with it. I'm just trying to make this short. So I was talking to them. They had a thought on their mind that they was, they felt like they wanted to off themselves. Like, so I gave them a piece of encouragement, but they did have a grandmother or whatever that they could talk to, and they could, get them to get out of that mindset. And I felt like at that time it wasn't my mission to do that; it was somebody else's mission to do that. And I sat there and I was like, "Damn!" I said, "Why did I do all that when the other person could just did that?" And when I said, it, they said, "Nah, that didn't help, bro." I was like, "Wow, I wasted my time." And we all been there before. But the reason why I felt like that because at the end of the day, it's like, wow, I thought I was helping, but instead of helping, it turned to no help at all. So I was damn, all right. So it's just it's a point in time when you try to communicate or try to be there for others. Like I took but yeah, I told them one girl told me recently. She was telling me about her problems and stuff, and all I could say, it was so deep. All I could say was, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear." That's all I could say because it was just ooh, ooh. And my spirit didn't feel good to keep going with the conversation. Sometimes your spirit tell you like, and sometimes God tell you too. You be like, I want to keep talking to, especially if you're not feeling comfortable with what they're oversharing, or if it feels like it's too much for you to handle. Sometimes people tell you a whole life story. You be like, dog, how can I handle this? You know what I'm saying? Like it was like that sometimes, but I understand people. I'm like, okay, you come talk to me. Okay, I give you some advice, or you come talk to me. Okay, cool. Well, I'll try to see what can make you feel better. I had one person recently. She had came to me and she felt a little down. She went to her best friend. She felt like her friend was her mentor. Then she came back to me and then had a conversation. She said, "Yeah, I feel better now." And I was like, "Wow, that's interesting." And I don't want to say social media is depressing, but I mean, it depends how you use social media. It's the question, you know. To me, it's like who you communicate with and who you know. Sometimes you gotta be careful who you talk to. Some people, they'll cuss you out, fuss you out, and then you be like, "Oh, what's wrong?" Like people have that type of communication, anger communication, you know. And I'll be sitting there like, how you be in that mode of angry communication? And I hate when people do that. They sit there and they be like, "Oh, I'm just mad at you. I don't want to talk to you. You know what you did." And you be like, "Damn, what did I do?" Like, you know what I'm saying? And I have been in those situations where people just do that bull crap. And I'd be sitting there like, how in the world are you going to sit here and tell me what I did when you didn't do nothing wrong? It's like, for real. It's like I knew somebody that was going through this recently. They was going through it like, okay, it was a video game. This girl was telling me that this person was being so mean to them, like so mean to them for no reason. You know how you play a campus type video game, you play the character persona or whatever, but even though it's real people behind the screen or whatever. But what sucks about it is this girl came to me. It was a girl that came to me, and she was a Haitian girl. She came to me. I was sitting there like, and she felt like I owed her something. And she was like, "Oh, you ain't talked to me in a couple of months and telling me about my communication skills." I said, "Hold on, man. What? You stopped text even though see that's why I hate when people do that. They sit there and blame it on you, but you ain't the problem because they stopped texting too. It's like what type of program is
But
this?"
you have to think too though, like you said it a minute ago too, like well, what you said was you got to be careful on social media, and I thought to myself, I'm like, you got to be careful everywhere because like not careful about other people and not careful like oh, watch out for other people, beware. It's not that. It's like what frequency am I putting out to the world? Like what is still
Right.
unhealed in me that I need to take care of in myself, that I'm putting a frequency out to the world that I'm attracting people to treat me this way. That was a big lesson for me because I didn't get that from my parents. And I was constantly like, I would face the same situations with people over and over again until finally I had to be like, okay, what is it that I'm looking for in a person that is going to keep having me relive the same cycle over and over again? And I had to get real with myself and be like, what am I getting out of this? What's in it for me that I'm going to keep attracting this into my life, which is really it's not fun to be in that situation. It's not.
You're right. You're right about that because it do be like that because you be like, what are you looking in? Oh my gosh, she got me going on. I was about to get into the like the dating aspect a little bit, but it's like, yeah,
Well, look,
you
I
look.
got an appointment coming up. We're gonna have to do a part next on the dating one because that shoot, I think I have something to contribute to that one too because that's a whole nother layer.
That is though. I mean, dude, I'm not gonna lie. I really got something deep right there. Oh, let me get to the Q and A. My Q and A. That I forgot to get into that bull crap. Oh, I gotta go find it, but I forgot because I did say something about Q and A. Cause they're gonna be like, man, he didn't do the Q and A. I asked people about what was it, toxic relationships? Yeah, it was about enough situation. It isn't worth it, or something like that. I did, and I was like, man, I had some good answers. I mean, some good responses on it. Some of them good, some of them not so good. Some of them I try to figure out why. But to answer my own question, toxic relationship is not worth it. I'm just being honest with you. If you feel like you got toxic all the time with somebody, no, it's no go. It's really
Yeah.
no go for me because I can't be toxic towards somebody, or even like I got a topic. I got a topic that's gonna sound so good. But if you gotta be toxic all the time, it's just like you're draining yourself.
Yeah.
Like you
Absolutely.
is draining yourself like crazy. Trying to find it, but oh,
But
okay, I
I had to
found it.
come to that
Okay.
point. I had to come to that point where I was like, okay, it's not worth it anymore. Because for a long time, I was in it, and I had to meet myself where I was at. You know.
Ooh. So I asked this question. I said Q and A. Do you like being in a toxic relationship? This is what people say. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna read the one up under, then I'm gonna get to the top one. One person had said, never. Peace has to be there. And I was like, now I gotta
Boom.
get on to that one right there. That is so damn true.
Yeah.
Because peace gotta be in the relationship. And people don't see the peace. They see the chaos and all this other crap. Peace gotta be in there with that person in the relationship. If there ain't no peace in it, you're draining yourself like for a long time. For a long time, it becomes a emotional pool. Like you like, golly, or you just get drained so much. You be like, dog, there's
Yeah.
no peace in this. Let me just cut the cord.
Yeah. It's
Oh
supposed to be
yeah.
a safe haven to come to together, not like you versus them. That's what's the point of being in a relationship if it's going to be you versus them? Then you're not looking for a safe haven in a relationship. You're looking for someone that you can play out your toxic patterns with, and that's just not loving to either one of you.
That is true. You're right. It's not there to either party. Then another person came and they was like, "This is gonna be hard." When I'm about to, how I'm gonna read this, it might not sound right, but I'm trying to put it the best way I can. Only okay, this makes no sense. One only like being in toxic relationships when they have low self-esteem issues, lack of self-awareness, and a hard time maintaining healthy boundaries. This was
Okay.
tough.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one.
That is
That's
so tough because, whew, wow, that was tough because she
so.
hit the
What were the three
self-esteem
things?
part.
Low self esteem, lack of self awareness,
Lack of self-awareness
and poor boundaries.
and maintaining healthy boundaries. Mm,
Mhm. Yeah, they're right.
mm,
Because if you have low
mm,
self esteem,
mm.
then you don't see that you're worthy of better. So you keep yourself in that cycle. If you don't have self awareness to look at what you're doing, you're just going to keep saying everybody else is the problem. And you're not going to, like, you're just forcing other people to hold your pain. And then maintaining healthy boundaries. I mean, I feel like that's everyone to some degree. I don't really know many people who are raised with healthy boundaries. I know I wasn't. I was raised with no boundaries. So that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, it's understandable. You're right. That does make sense because I mean, dang, you got a point because we're not raised with boundaries. Like if you think about it, you're really
Oh,
not
shoot.
because like you you come into the world and you just like nobody teaches you about boundaries.
Hmm.
Really, till you get about halfway to your adult life, you start understanding that.
Then you have to respect everybody else's boundaries, and which that I could have a whole podcast topic just on like how children are not given like what they need to succeed in healthy relationships a lot of times. But I do have an appointment about to start, so I'm gonna have to hop off of this one. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, yeah, man, you all right? This is good though. Let me stop
This is
recording
good.
though.
I
Because
had fun.
that would keep rolling. That would keep rolling. Yeah, it's fun too. I mean, it's always a fun time when you come on to the show. It's always fun. People love what you put out there. You know, they love what you put out there. And I was like, wow, I love it too though, because it's like not only do you bring topics, you bring topics people ain't talking about. Like people get on podcasts